What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Sunovageek podcast. I'm the co-host Zeo.
Hi, Zeo.
And that's the main host, Spencer.
We're coming in with part 2 of the winter 2021 anime season. We didn't get through very many, but we've had a lot of blasts talking about them.
We got bogged down by arguing over animes and coming up with our own ideas rather than talking about the list. But we're going to continue the pride and glory of the woo or boo listing of how we determine what's exciting or not, because that didn't just get made up on the spot last episode. We completely came up with it, and it's been tried and true and tested and run through the factory, and it's in good condition. So we're going to continue that. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm just rambling.
Well, let's talk about Seven Deadly Sins.
Anyway, Seven Deadly Sins, Dragon's Judgment. Is this a movie or... No, this is a series, so this must be season 5 then, right?
Yeah, season 5's coming out.
All right, cool. Are you excited? Woo or boo?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back and I'll retry out some of the other seasons. Because we were just looking through on Netflix and we couldn't find anything super terrible with it.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I might have to relook. Because I remember I really enjoyed the first season quite a bit. The second season made no sense because it was just 4 episodes in a bar. I'm like, what is this? And then season 3 came out. I'm like, oh, all right. But then I just never watched it again.
That's pretty much what happened for me as well.
So
season 2 was very just strange.
All right. Well, then we're both. I feel like we're both in the woo.
I feel like I'm as I don't know how to say in the middle as possible.
I'd say woo.
Like just like woo. Sure. That's where all right, so that's going to be January 6th. The Seven Deadly Sins, Dragon's Judgment.
Ooh. That is a bad
after that,
title.
we've got Horimiya?
Horyu?
Horimiya.
Horimiya. I think it's Horimiya.
I think so, too.
And this is right up
this
your
might
alley.
be one that I enjoy. So this is a sweet, awe-inspiring tale of school life. I couldn't figure out how they were saying how they wanted that to be said. A sweet, awe-inspiring tale of school life begins. At school, Kyoko Hori is known for being smart, attractive, and popular. On the other hand, her classmate, the boring, gloomy Izumi Miyamura, tends to get painted as a loser fanboy. But when a liberally pierced and tattooed, not to mention downright gorgeous, Miyamura appears unexpectedly on the doorstep of secretly plain Jane home. God, they couldn't find like a more weird way. I think it's what's also hard to read all this stuff is there's just so many crazy names. It's hard to keep up with it.
That's why I just skip over the names. I don't even try.
But when a liberally pierced and tattooed Miyamura appears unexpectedly on the doorstep of secretly plain Jane homebody Hori, these two similarly dissimilar teenagers discover that there are multiple sides to every story and person. Interesting.
It's got shonen in there because it's for 12 to 18, right?
It's meant for boys.
Oh, man. It's meant for boys. That's interesting.
Oh. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with this one, reading the description.
Yeah.
I like the art style, but I've been burned before by seeing really nice art style for a slice of life.
That's what I was thinking, too. Like, I do like the art style, but yeah... Who knows? A lot of slice of lives just tend to not be good, unfortunately. In my opinion, at least.
Well, no, there's a lot of them where they're just... If you're there for just the slice of life, where you just want to watch a bunch of nothing happening, and that's why you're there for the show, then there's a lot of them that are really great.
Yeah.
But if you kind of expect something out of it, then there's a lot of them where it's just kind of like...
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I went through this phase of like I really started enjoying slice of lives, and I felt like I watched too many of them because I realized a lot of them, yeah, like you said, a lot of nothing and pointless stuff happens. But I feel like
because a lot of slice of life where each episode is essentially its own story, and it doesn't matter what order you watch them in. You could watch the third one and not watch anything else, and it won't really change anything for you.
Yeah, I see. I like at least a narrative that it builds. You know, I like there to be somewhat of a story structure. Like I really enjoyed my romantic teen my teen romantic
See,
comedy.
I had a hard time getting into that
whatever.
one.
Huh?
And I couldn't get into that one.
Really? I liked it. I liked the story of it. I mean, each episode you can still kind of watch on its own, but it really did focus on like the relationships and stuff and overcomplicated and though the ending I didn't feel completely satisfied me, I felt like it satisfied me more than most slice of lives have.
Okay. That's fair. So
So.
what are you going to give a rating for this one?
Woo.
I feel like I'm going to give it like a woo. You know, like a
Slightly more
optimistic
optimistic
woo.
version of mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, next on the list, though, we got Cells at Work! Exclamation, exclamation. Not to be confused with Cells at Work with no exclamation.
Well, I think the first one just had one exclamation.
Well,
so this is the
whatever.
second.
This is a confusing titling. Anyways, it's the second season of the original. The average human body contains about 60 trillion cells, and each one of them has to work to do. But when you get injured, viruses or bacteria invade, and when an allergic reaction flares up, everyone from the silent but deadly white blood cells to the brainy neurons has to work together to get through the crisis.
So do you know what cells... Did you see anything about Cells at Work?
I had no desire to watch it based off of, like, it just seemed ridiculous. But then I've read and heard that it's actually really good. And it talks about, like, even though it's pretty, like, I don't know, I think it's action heavy is what somebody said. It also teaches you about, like, the human body and growth and stuff like that. And it's like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So what it does is it's as if the human body was an anime. So every cell... every function, everything that the body goes through is a character or a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so then all of the, like, typically all of, like, the certain types of cells are all, like, a specific kind of character. I believe most of the white blood cells just look the same.
Yeah.
And it's just really neat how the story kind of progresses with
Now,
all of these different elements in place.
Does it show the person that these cells are inhabiting? Is that, like...
I don't know.
Is that...
I've only heard lots about it. Cells at Work is on my to watch list. It's on one of my next ones to check out.
It's recently been put on my watch list, so it's like really far down the list. But yeah, I'm kind of in a woo.
I'm about the same thing. I'm also a woo.
I do want to see it eventually. It's just we'll get there.
Well, if you want to check this out, as well as the one we were just talking about before, you can check them both out on January 9th.
Yeah, January 9th.
Yeah.
So what's
Zeo, this next one.
So I'm a spider. So what?
So I like the title of it.
Me too. It kind of makes me think of that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
It's essentially going along the same idea of that from what I've read so far. You want to take the synopsis for us?
Sure. I, the protagonist, was just an ordinary high school girl. But suddenly I was reincarnated, God damn it, as a spider monster in a fantasy world. Not only that, but I awakened in a dungeon filled with vicious monsters. Armed with only my human knowledge and my overwhelming positivity, I'm forced to use spider webs and traps to defeat far stronger monsters just to stay alive. So begins the labyrinth survival story of a girl with incredible mental strength living as one of the lowest ranked beasts.
It sounds so stupid. But I'm really excited. Here's what's dumb. I'm really excited to check this one out, but I'm not giving it any more than a woo.
I'm a boo? This is not on my list. I like the animation picture they got going. I'm like, oh, this looks really good. And then I read this. I'm like, no, I've lost it. I like the title. I think the title's silly.
Yeah, well, I think that's just what it's supposed to be. It's gonna be mostly a comedy adventure fantasy thing.
See, I have a hard time with comedy animes. A lot of comedy animes tend to just be cringy for me, where it's just over the top and like that's supposed to be funny. But then there are some that like I said, the one where, you know, dirty jokes are not a part of life and stuff. Like that is designed with a pretty funny experience. And the over-the-topness fits that. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
No, I get what you're talking about.
I think what kills it for me are fans of anime. This is gonna sound terrible, Spen. Have you ever been to an anime convention?
I've been to many.
I hate most anime nerds. Like, I love anime, but I despise a lot of anime fans because they tend to act like anime characters, and it just doesn't translate in the real world. And
I'm going to say this in a way that a lot of people are going to be very unhappy about it in many different types of scenarios, not just anime. But typically when there's something in your life, it doesn't matter how big or small, and if many people are against it and you have to repress it, when you finally are in a situation where you get to start showing it, you really show it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Anybody who is this type of person, good for you. I'm glad you love somebody or love something and you express it. But
See, because I'm a little different than you, where I like going to the anime conventions and I like seeing just how insane people get with all this stuff. Because it's just cool to see the passion for everything.
No, I see. That's the thing. I love going to these anime conventions too, and I love all the cosplay. I love seeing people really into it. I love seeing people that share the same feelings I have about anime. Like, I really thoroughly enjoy anime and stuff too. Like, I want to write it, I want to draw it, I want to consume it a lot. But I don't know. There's just this interaction with these people. I guess I just want to watch them. I don't want to interact with them. It sounds terrible. And it's not just anime people. Like, I feel the same way when I go to like a comic book convention. Like, I don't know. It's hard. I'm in a really weird scenario. I just almost like people who take role playing too far, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I like role-playing
everybody's
game
got their
too.
own limits for it.
Like, I like all that stuff, but I also know, like, gauging human interaction is very important, and I feel like some of those people don't understand the simplest social structure of a conversation. And
No, I get what you're trying to say.
we're gonna have to cut all this out. I'm just fucking, like, shooting my foot.
I don't want to cut any of it out.
Oh man, like it sounds terrible because I don't mean to like talk trash, but like I love these people and like I think they're fine and they should absolutely, celebrate in the way they want. I just don't want to be a part of it.
No, that's. Well, but you also come from a very different perspective from stuff because you're a manager at a job. And you've been a manager at many different jobs where you work out with the public in many different situations, and most of the people that you work with are people that don't care about this kind of stuff.
Very much so. I'm like the only person in my job that likes anime.
Yeah, and it's really important to you that that everybody feels accepted and welcomed. And so there's certain things that you don't talk about, or there's things that you pay attention to. So that you make sure that nobody's in a situation where they're like, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. And because there's a lot of people out in the world that when you talk to them about stuff like anime, they're immediately just like, no, this is like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, this is weird. And so then there's a lot of that stuff where you just usually avoid and you don't have those kinds of conversations. And so then possibly seeing these situations with all these people that talk about it in these super passionate ways and express it in these very extreme ways would, in any other situation besides that convention, they would be outcast and shunned.
That's fair.
And I feel because of that, there's part of you where you're just kind of like, you just want everybody to be able to be happy and enjoy the situation. So you see stuff like that and you're just like, yeah, but other people would feel uncomfortable in this situation. So I think that's where you're coming from.
Sure. We'll go with that. Thanks for saving my heinies, Ben.
No problem. Also, that's a lot of stuff that I'd have to go and cut through, so I don't want to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's move on to the list.
It's fine.
Okay.
Everybody's got different opinions on that stuff, and if anybody has any issues with what we just said, say so. So we can tell you that we don't care what you think. And then you can tell us that you don't care what we think.
I would
and then
love.
We can all not care together.
I would love to go to a convention with you, Spen. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it would be great. I know this is derailing it a little bit more, but more than anything, I've always wanted to. I think I mentioned this in the Discord. More than anything, I want to do like a skit type thing where where I get to pretend to be someone that doesn't know anything about anime. Where it's like I'm doing like the interview thing with like the microphone and the camera, and we're going to an anime convention. And so I invite a friend to come with me, so that we can go to this other person's house to learn about anime before we go to the convention. And I tell him, I'm like, hey, we're going to an anime convention, because that'll just trigger a lot of people that love anime. And then so it's like, yeah, we're going to an anime convention. I've got my buddy here. He knows everything there is to know about it, so I'm really excited about this. We get there, and then it turns out that he doesn't know anything about anime, but he thought I said Anaheim. So he's like an expert on Anaheim, and then it just goes to be a disaster after that. And then we just go to the convention and ask people a lot of questions that we know they're just going to roll their eyes at and be like, seriously, why? You're like, hi, because you find people that you know are super passionate about it, and you just go up and be like, hey, I'm so-and-so from this. We're here at the Anaheim convention talking to this person.
Here's what we need to do. Dearborn, Michigan has a pretty huge anime convention. You need to come over. We'll get a hotel, and we'll do one day with your skits, and then one day. I like interviewing these people in general. We should just do interviews. We should just do it.
There's so many great things. Like, you ask someone about their show, it doesn't matter what it is they talk about. You're like, oh, so it's kind of like Naruto. And just, oh man, it would be so much fun. What would you do for it?
Well, one, I'd kind of do a similar thing. I want to interview people. I'd make a lot of jokes, and then I would also play like an idiot. Like, I love anime, but then I would only name like the worst anime shows ever. Or, like, just only the secular ones. So anytime somebody's like, oh, who are you dressed as? You know, I'm dressed as this guy from this pretty small anime. I'm like, oh, kind of like Naruto, like you're saying. Just, like, no, nothing like that. Oh, you mean like Dragon Ball Z? And just only name that stuff. But then act like an expert.
I love it. It's genius. I think we'll have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a blast.
So I don't remember. Did we rate?
Yeah. I think you were kind of like woo, and I was like boo. So.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
That's it. We stick to our guns on this one here.
And you can check that one out on January 8th.
Yeah, go for it. But next on the list, we got redo of Healer. Healing magicians cannot fight alone. Kiera there. Who is bound by this common knowledge, was exploited again and again by others. But one day, he notices what may lay beyond healing magic, and was convinced that healing magic was the strongest class. However, by the time he realizes his full potential, he was deprived of everything. Thus, he used healing magic on the world itself to go back 4 years, deciding to redo everything.
That's kind of interesting.
That's a really interesting concept, but then look at the tag. It's got an Ichi tag.
Oh, no. No.
So, just put at the end of this whole synopsis, and he's a pervert.
Like, why do they take such cool things and then ruin them?
I mean, who knows?
I'm still going to check it out, and I'm going to hope it's not really bad, but it's probably going to be.
It's probably going to be super bad. But yeah, I the concept I'm actually pretty interested by. Like, I think that's actually a good idea. Like,
it's so cool. It's an awesome concept.
Yeah, it's a really good concept for an anime. So, like, I'm really behind this.
But there's so many however it's pronounced. There's so many that you read the concept and you're like, this is genius. And then you go to watch it and you're like, boobs, 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 boobs. That's all it is. It's just like, come on.
Now, did you ever see, what's it called? High School of the Dead?
I did.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did.
And it sounds like you hated it.
I wanted to love it so much. I loved it so much that I created my own tabletop zombie RPG so that I could have a proper experience of the game, of the whole thing.
See, like, that level of Ichi wasn't terrible in comparison to a lot of animes, though. Believe
really?
I've seen some pretty bad stuff. That wasn't the worst. So it's still
High School of the Dead is where it goes too far for me.
Really?
Yeah.
See, there's no nudity in that, though, is there? I thought that was just panties and bras.
But even that, it's just, I don't want to. I come to anime. God, there's going to be a lot of terrible puns off that. I watch anime. I should have finished my sentence so it wasn't so bad.
Okay, continue.
I let me go back in time.
Just like
and
redo.
say I go to anime so that I have a place to unwind and enjoy going to this other world and experiencing these cool stories.
Yeah.
Not what High School of the Dead does.
I mean, High School of the Dead still has an interesting story, though.
It does, and that's why I was able to keep watching it.
See, like,
I wanted to know what would happen
how
next.
I view it is all anime has tropes, right? And itchiness, unfortunately, is a trope in 90% of anime.
It needs to be gone.
I agree with you. It's dumb. But, however, it's one of those things where my brain just blocks it out now, and I try to focus on the story it's telling. And I really liked High School of the Dead. I thought the story and the concept was super cool. But yeah, it does have those moments. I'll never forget the sniper between the boobs.
Yeah, pretty much whenever somebody says, because the bullet went between them. It was so stupid.
But
anytime someone says High School of the Dead, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yep.
It's just how stupid that is.
But at the same time, like, the animation style was good. Like, you got to give it that. So I'm gonna give this a chance. I'm gonna hope it's around. I can tolerate High School of the Dead itchiness, but like,
see, but this one I think is gonna be worse because if he's a healer, that means he deals with people taking damage, and you know what happens to anime female characters when they take a lot of damage.
Where I draw the line is hot tubs. If there's a spa scene, I know where it's going. I told my wife, like, every anime has to have a spa scene. Like, no anime can exist without a spa scene.
Well, because they always have that one fan service episode.
Mm-hmm.
Even if everything else is fan service, they still need that one extra fan service.
Yeah.
Of the hot tub scene.
Anyways, I'm gonna woo here. I think
I'm gonna woo.
All right, but that was coming out in January. We don't know when or what time, so don't ask us.
Yeah. It's just like this next one sounds really cool until you get to the last sentence. The hidden dungeon only I can enter. The hidden dungeon is a place of legend where rare treasure and items are hidden. Nor, which is the name of a character, the third son of an impoverished noble family has lost the one job he had. He was lucky enough to hear about this dungeon, though. He then... Wait, what? Nor the third son of an improvised noble...
No, you had it good.
...family who's lost the one job he had was lucky enough to hear about this dungeon. He then acquires a skill that allows him to create, bestow, and edit skills, and in order to use it, he needs to accumulate points by carrying out such tasks as eating delicious meals and doing sexual things with alluring members of the opposite sex. It's just like, at first you're like, okay, this is kind of neat. Like, he's editing skills and doing stuff, so it's going to be like some MMO aspects to it. But how does he gain the experience to be able to do this kind of stuff? By eating delicious food.
Oh my god.
and doing other things.
Not gonna lie, I didn't read the whole thing. I was just listening. When you're like, by eating, but knowing where it was going, I thought he was gonna go by eating out women. I was like, what? I was like, wow, it's going real hard. But
I mean, because at first you're just like, all right, it's an anime, and then it adds that really interesting aspect. You're like, oh, he's acquiring new skills and he can edit them and do these different things, so that's gonna be kind of neat to see. But then it just goes very south after that.
Anyways, if you're excited and
into
into this type of thing and you want to see it, it comes out January 9th.
I'm just, because of this one and the last one, about how excited I was and how they ruined it with the last sentences, I'm just going to give this one a boo. I don't care anymore.
I'm at a boo. Probably a boo. Where I start to think maybe he'll be all right, but no, it's probably not gonna be.
I feel like this one's gonna be worse than Redo of Healer, but at the same time, if the Redo of Healer is worse than the Hidden Dungeon, I'm not gonna be surprised.
I mean, see, the Redo of Healer doesn't specify anything itchy in the synopsis.
And that's why who knows where it's gonna go.
As this one does specify, you have to do
this
sexual
one specifically
things.
says it's gonna get bad.
This one's like, you're gonna say boobs.
Pretty much.
All right. Anyways, moving on. We got Cells at Work, Code Black. It's like a spin-off
Which is weird.
series.
That's got to be what it is. This one looks a little bit more dark and intense, though.
Yeah, a rookie red blood cell has been bustling about, frantically making oxygen deliveries all around the body. But it turns out that his workplace is on the brink of going code black. Drinking, smoking, stress, sleep deprivation, struggling to survive a life not unlike the brutal corporate world. What must these overworked cells be thinking at the end of the day? This is a tale about the inside of your body. I'm very interested in this. Like... I'm very interested.
From the last two, as soon as you said the inside of your butt, I was just waiting for butt.
This is the tale about the inside of your butt.
And that's why it's Code Black.
No, that'd be Code Brown.
Oh, Code Black, no. I was like, there's got to be some sort of disease that's affected it pretty badly, and that's why everything's going south.
But,
and it's now black.
see, I wonder if Cells at Work, neither one of us have seen it, but Cells at Work has to have a character who is the body, right? Like, showing these characters.
No, because this is all inside the body.
I understand, but then what they're doing on the inside has to have a reaction on the outside, right? Like,
I don't know.
Person has to have a reaction to things.
Because I watched half of the first episode of Cells at Work. And it never showed us anything outside the body that I know of. It was all just inside, as if it's as if the body's a city.
No, I understand, but I still feel like
So
it should be a character. I don't know, because this concept right here, it's fighting drinking, smoking, stress, sleep. Like, they're fighting a person who's basically killing themselves, and that seems really cool. Like, I actually think that's a really cool concept. And I want to see like this person like. What's the goal of this body, right? The blood cells are fighting to save this human body because they know once that body dies, they all die. And I would like to see like what the body's going through. What is this human being going through causing all of this? I don't know. Who knows? I'm not the writer. I'm moving on. I'm for it.
Cells at Work Code Black makes me want to watch Cells at Work immediately.
Yes.
Like I've now moved Cells at Work up to the next show I'm watching.
Yeah, I'm with you. It moves Cells at Work definitely up for me because this is a very fascinating concept and I want to see it.
What's weird is Cells at Work comes out, or like the Cells at Work 2 exclamation marks comes out January 9th at 7:30 a.m. for me. And then the Code Black comes out at 8 a.m. January 9th.
Oh,
so
man.
it's like one and then the next one.
See, for me, it says January 9th for Cells at Work. And then Cells at Work. Code Black says January 10th, like the next day.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Let me refresh. Nope, didn't change anything.
Okay. But anyways, I'm for this. I'm all woo. I'm wooed out. I'm wooed up. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, next.
King's Raid's Successors of the Will. A century has passed since King Kyle of the Ovelia Kingdom destroyed the fierce demon lord Angmund, restoring peace to the lands. But serenity was not meant to last forever, with the news of the new demon appearances reaching the ear of young Squire Cassell, who bands together a group of companions that embark on a journey to locate the fabled Holy Sword to defeat the new enemies.
And he's a pervert. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I feel like we have to add this to the every season now, just the synopsis.
Yeah, but I don't want to, for people that don't actually know what it is, I don't want to ruin it for them. But this is ongoing. This one's already out.
Yeah, it's ongoing. It's halfway through its season.
It's not on Crunchyroll.
No, it might be a Funimation.
Is it on Funimation?
Yeah, it's Funimation. I've seen this picture before. I think it's on my watch list. I think the only reason I haven't watched it yet is because it's not dubbed yet.
Really? I'm not Successors of the Will. I'm not seeing it on Funimation right now.
It says source Funimation on the synopsis.
Oh, there it is. King's Raid Successors of the Will. Yeah, I'll have to check that out then.
Yeah,
I really gotta pay more attention to Funimation. I pretty much only ever go to Crunchyroll.
I'm a big fan of Sunrise, the studio, the company. So
Sunrise Animation?
Yeah, when I see their name on things, I tend to enjoy them, I think.
Oh, is that what the AS is?
Maybe.
Oh, no, that's anasearch.com. Never mind.
But anyways, I like Sunrise. I think Sunrise does good stuff.
I'm going to give this one like a woo.
Yeah, I'm pretty woo. I'm woo for it.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. And next, we got Beastar Season 2. I didn't
I
watch
think
the
we
first
talked
season.
about this one in the last
Yes,
thing that we did.
Yeah,
I never watched it.
I'm not really a furry, and I don't like anamorphic animals. So it never tickled my fancy. The closest thing to that I ever watched was the Pixar movie. What's it called? The one with the rabbit and the fox.
Oh, Zootopia.
Yes, that's the only thing I've watched. I mean, I guess I like Looney Tunes and stuff. I guess with anime, it's different because it's I don't know.
Well, before we get too far into it, the synopsis for Beastars. The story takes place in a world of modern, civilized, anthropomorphic animals with a cultural divide between the carnivores and herbivores. Out of nowhere, Tem the alpaca is brutally murdered and devoured in the night, setting a wave of unease and distrust between the herbivore and carnivore students.
Yeah.
That's what I get from this one.
It's got to be at least decent because it's getting a second season. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
cool.
gonna definitely check it out.
I won't, but you can let me know how it is, and then maybe I'll consider checking it out.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll give it a woo.
I'm a woo.
Maybe. Okay.
Cool.
What about this next one? We talked about this one in the last podcast, so we don't need to really go too far into it. Essentially, this is
Continuation of female Dragon Ball Z.
No. It's Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, not Dragon Ball Z.
No, it's
Inuyasha.
Inuyasha, right? It's Dragon Ball Z for girls.
Yeah. Wow. Sure, okay. So the daughters of Sesshomaru and Inuyasha set out on a journey transcending time. In feudal Japan, half-demon twins Towa and Setsuna are separated from each other during a forest fire. While desperately searching for their younger sister, Towa wanders into a mysterious tunnel that sends her into distant, present-day Japan, where she is found and raised by Kagome, Higurashi's brother Soda, and his family. 10 years later, the tunnel that connects the two eras has reopened, allowing Towa to be reunited with Setsuna, who is now a demon slayer working for Kohaku. But to Towa's shock, Setsuna appears to have lost all memories of her older sister. Joined by Moroa, the daughter of Inuyasha, and Kagome, the three young women travel between the two eras on an adventure to regain their missing past. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, sounds great.
I still haven't watched Inuyasha. I've seen bits and pieces of it throughout my childhood, but I never actually sat down and watched the whole thing.
Because it's not targeted to your demographic.
No, it definitely wasn't.
No, I say it's
But
Dragon Ball
I
Z
definitely
for women
missed out on it.
because it definitely feels like it's targeted towards a female demographic. It has that feeling, it has that type of art style too, I think. My wife, who doesn't really like anime, enjoyed Inuyasha, which only further enhances my theory. So I think this is great. I'm going to tell my wife about this. She might be woo, and I might be boo.
Well, I hope it's gonna be good.
But I'll tell you what,
Maybe
I am
someday
excited
when
for.
I get to watch Inuyasha, then I'll be able to watch that one.
Yeah. I'm excited for this next one on the title alone.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'm gonna let you read the synopsis then, because I am pumped for it.
Okay,
it's really cool.
Suppose a kid from the last Dungeon Boonies moved to a starter town. The titles, man, they're so good. All right.
Yeah.
Optimistic young Lloyd would like nothing more than to achieve his life's dream of becoming a soldier in the capital. Unfortunately, his neighbors and friends consider him the weakest boy in the village and are sure Lloyd will meet his doom the minute he sets out on his foolhardy journey. But no one realizes that by living near the most dangerous dungeon in the land, what the locals consider to be everyday annoyances would be apocalyptic for anyone else. And when Lloyd defies the townspeople and makes off for his starter town for adventurers, the rest of the kingdom is about to find out just how overpowered Lloyd really is. And he's a pervert.
No, he's not.
I'm actually really excited for this. I like this concept. Granted, I feel like this is a slightly overworked concept too, but it's pretty fascinating. I like the fact that he's like viewed as this pipsqueak and this little weakling, but then he goes to a starter town and he's super fucking strong.
Yeah.
What I hope they end up doing with the show is other people from his town come and maybe they're villains. So like he's weaker than them, so he has to overpower them in some capacity.
That'd be kind of cool.
That I think would be interesting. But yeah, it kind of makes me think of like Before, where like I put all my stats in defense. Obviously the overpowered thing is kind of there for a lot of animes. I'm very interested to see where this goes.
This one has a new. I think this one has a different take than what I've seen on any others so far.
Yeah, it's a little different by showing that he's super weak in his village, and I think that's where it is. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I play a game and I'm just super powerful all of a sudden," or like Rising of the Shield Hero, right? Like he's viewed as the weakest, but yeah, he ends up being like the strongest. This one's a little different. Like he is actually the weakest. Like he's like not great in his hometown, but then he moves out, and then he's like a rock star to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna woo. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one the same thing. A nice woo.
Nice. Now, what about this next one?
Oh, this one's January 4th.
January 4th. I'm pretty excited. I really hope this comes out in dubbed because I really want to see it.
Well, it looks like the only source we're getting is Square Enix, so we don't really know where it's coming out yet.
But the fact that they named the main character like Lloyd makes me think it's gonna be dubbed. That means they had intention. Like they're giving American names here, or English names.
Well,
so that means
some shows do that, anyways.
Yeah, but they tend to be dubbed. Just saying.
All right, I'll give you that one.
Just saying. They're clearly naming it that way to target a certain audience to be relatable with.
No, I think. Oh, sure. All right.
We'll find out when this gets dubbed. Then I'll be like, hide your face, Ben, until you prove me wrong. Which you'll forget, and then I'll just be right.
So the next one we've got is bottom tier character Tomozaki.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
Why? It like fits.
I don't know.
It's slice of life.
It's not slice of life though. It's just drama romance. Slice of life is where nothing happens.
Oh my god. All right, fine. I'll read it then if you don't want to.
No, I want to read it.
Fine, then read it.
So Fumiya Tomozaki is a high school student who is one of Japan's best gamers, but in reality, he is alone. He has always insisted.
Sorry.
He has always insisted life is a horrible game. One day he meets Aoi Hinami, a perfect heroine of the school. She says to him, "Take this game called Life seriously. Is life a horrible game or a great game?" Under Hinami's guidance, a life strategy by a high school student who is a bottom-tier character is about to begin. I was waiting for you to add your...
And he's a pervert!
No, he is not.
I'm pretty... This is a woo
This
for
actually
me.
sounds... When I first saw the picture of it, and it was just like bottom tier character Tomozaki, I thought it was just going to be kind of like him being like a shy introvert and then falling in love with this girl that just dominates him. And I was just like, this is going to be another one of those dumb ones. But this,
it kind of sounds like he's not a shy introvert. He's a chosen introvert that just hates people.
Yeah. But I mean, now reading the synopsis, I'm a bit more interested in it. I'm going to give it like a woo.
I'm not big on slice of life, but I do like romance animes.
It's not slice of life.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm not big on the slice of life because, like you said, it goes nowhere.
No, this isn't slice of life.
Oh my God, Sped! I'm gonna slap you right through this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm pretty excited. I like romance concepts. Again, they tend to be disappointing because the endings don't give you the satisfaction you really want. But we'll see. Some of them do.
Yeah. We'll see.
Okay.
Hopefully. Maybe it'll be good. I think it's got potential.
Yeah, it definitely has potential to be good or bad. But this next anime Spen's got a season 2, so you know what that means. It at least did well enough in the first season.
Possibly. Do you want to take away with the synopsis there?
Yeah, it's called Laid Back Camp Season 2. No synopsis has been added to this title. And they're perverts.
No, they're not, Zeo. They're little girls.
I mean, little girls can be perverted.
All right, so the synopsis for this is, while the perfect getaway for most girls her age might be a fancy vacation with their loved ones, Rin Shima's ideal way of spending her days off is camping alone at the base of Mount Fuji. From pitching her tent to gathering firewood, she has always done everything by herself and has no plans of leaving her little solitary world. However, what starts off as one of Rin's usual camping sessions somehow ends up as a surprise get-together for two when the lost Nadeshiko Kagamihara is forced to take refuge at her campsite. Originally intended to see the picturesque view of Mount Fuji for herself, Nadeshiko's plans are disrupted when she ends up falling asleep partway to her destination. Alone and with no other choice, she seeks help from the only other person nearby. Despite their hasty introductions, the two girls nevertheless enjoy the chilly night together, eating ramen and conversing while the campfire keeps them warm. And even after Nadeshiko's sister finally picks her up later that night, both girls silently ponder the possibility of another camping trip together.
I heard the first season was really good.
I never actually watched it because I
No.
went to, and I'm like, I don't know. But I'm going to check it out now. It's got a season 2.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of in a woo.
I thought it was going to be something more along the lines of some sort of like high school club where they just talk about camping, but then they just
No.
kind of go on hikes.
I think
That's kind of the vibes I was getting
from
from
what
it.
I
But this
understand
seems a
of
little
it-
bit more interesting.
From what I understand that people have told me is that it's just a really nice, relaxing, feel-good anime.
Ah, see, I should have watched it then.
Yeah, it's like right up your alley.
Yeah. And nobody's a pervert.
All right, we got this next one called World Trigger Season 2. It's the second season of World Trigger. No synopsis has been
know-
added to this title.
Do you know what World Trigger is?
Nope. I assumed the world is a giant gun and there's a trigger on it.
I'm really, really excited for this.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the first season of World Trigger. This was I think it's been it feels like a couple years now. Since the first season
Is
came
it
out.
dubbed?
I don't know. I want to say it isn't.
That would explain why I never watched it.
It is dubbed.
Oh. Well, then what
It's
the
on
hell's my
Crunchyroll, though.
excuse?
I don't know I don't think it's on Funimation.
That'd be why. I don't go on Crunchyroll very often.
But this might change your opinion. So, when a gate to another world suddenly opens on Earth, Mikado City is invaded by strange creatures known as neighbors.
Yeah.
Malicious beings impervious to traditional weaponry. In response to their arrival, an organization called the Border Defense Agency has been established to combat the neighbor menace through special weapons called triggers. Even though several years have passed after the gate first opened, neighbors are still a threat, and members of Border remain on guard to ensure the safety of the planet. Despite this delicate situation, members in training, such as Osamu Mikumu, are not permitted to use their triggers outside of headquarters. But when the mysterious new student in his class is dragged into a forbidden area by bullies, they are attacked by neighbors, and Osamu has no choice but to do what he believes is right. Much to his surprise, however, the transfer student, Yuma Kuga, makes short work of the aliens, revealing that he is a humanoid neighbor in disguise.
Nice.
That doesn't really give a good synopsis of the show, but
No.
it gives you kind of an idea of what it's about.
Yeah. It's definitely something
it's
I would
really
check
neat.
out.
It's there's not another show like it.
Ooh, bold claims, Ben. Bold claims.
I think it's safe to say that it is very unique
Okay.
in how it handles different things, and how it approaches stuff and like the different powers and abilities, and I really, really like it.
Okay. All right. I'll have to.
Because I think
I'll
the
have to
first
look.
season kept going. I think it was like 40 something episodes.
Holy crap.
No. The first season kept going. It's episode 70 was the last one, maybe.
Holy crap. So it's big and long.
Yeah.
Kind of like I guess like what's it called? Full Metal Alchemist is like 50 something episodes.
Yeah, 73 episodes was the first season, which I thought so I was really disappointed when the episode stopped. And they're like, "All right, wait for season 2." I'm like, "There's no way. Like this is like 3 seasons already. What do you mean season 2?" And then we never heard anything about it for years.
Well, that's kind of cool. That's exciting then. I am interested. I'm going to check it out on Crunchyroll then. You've
I think you
convinced me and I'm going to.
Nice.
But next on our list, oh yeah, for this I'm a woo. I'm a woo.
Oh, I'm a woohoo.
Ooh, a woo. He added a who in there, everybody.
Oh yeah,
man.
January 9th.
January 9th. All right. But this next one, Kimono Jihad. When a series of animal bodies that rot away after a single night begin appearing in a remote mountain village, Inugami, a detective from Tokyo who specializes in the occult, is called to investigate. While working the case, he befriends a strange boy who works in the field every day instead of going to school. Shunned by his peers and nicknamed Doratabu, After a yokai that lives in the mud, he helps Inugami uncover the truth behind the killings. But supernatural forces are at work, and while Dorotora Boo is just a nickname, it might not be the only thing about the boy that isn't human.
And also, he's a pervert.
I like the synopsis. This hooked me. The anime, the picture looks pretty good. So
Really? I thought the picture looked stupid.
Really? I'm into it.
Yeah, I looked at that and I'm like, that looks dumb.
It makes me
looks
think.
like
Looks like My Hero Academia.
Oh, does it? I look at it and I'm like, it just looks like some kids show.
Yeah, it looks like My Hero Academia. So I can get behind it.
I mean, read this. Going through the synopsis, I've gotten interested in it now.
Yeah, I like the. I hope it has more of a mystery element, even though it's not one of the tags. But I like the idea of it. I'm curious. I'm definitely gonna give it a chance and see where it goes. So for this, I'm kind of a woo. I'm a woo here. I'm a woo.
Yeah, I'm about a woo too.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on.
Oh, that's January 10th.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I keep forgetting the dates. Good job, Spencer.
That's all good. Hey, I'm here for you.
All right. Cool.
All right, take it away, Zeo.
All right, next we got X-Arm. In the year 2014, a high school student who hates machines, Akira, wants to change himself for the better and tries to take the first step in doing that. But then he gets run over by a truck. Fuck. Fast forward to 2030. A police officer named Minami and her partner, the android Alma, infiltrates the scene and trade and going on to Tokyo Harbor for an unknown weapon called X-Arm. When they are attacked by an enemy armed with X-Arm number 8, put in this life or death situation, they decide to activate the X-Arm number 0 that they stole from the enemy. That's a lot of X-Arms. That's it.
I think they just ran out of room. I'm just going to Crunchyroll right now to see.
There's no way they ran out of room because the first synopsis was like super long as hell.
Wait, why would they just end with and ...
Because and they're all perverts.
Well, if you click on the source Crunchyroll on the bottom there, you're gonna get a picture where you're like, okay, maybe they are.
Oh yeah. For those who don't know, it shows the main guy shirtless. It's a guy though this time.
And then the girl behind him is in a one-piece bathing suit, essentially. Yeah. With arm sleeves, it's actually supposed to be armor.
It is Ichi, so.
Oh, is it?
I was kind of into it. I'm still kind of into it.
Oh
Not
no,
gonna lie.
it is. See, why are they so good? But then throw that in.
I'm into it. When I saw that he got hit by a truck, I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. I'm gonna check it out at least.
But wait. He gets run over by a truck, but then nothing about him is in the rest of the synopsis.
Nope, that's it.
Where does the importance of him getting run over by a truck come in?
That's all that happens. He's the main character for the first 20 minutes. He gets hit by a truck.
When we make one of our animes, in the first episode, we're going to have like 10 minutes dedicated to this character, and he's going to get run over by a truck, and then nothing about him will ever be in the anime again.
I love it. Let's do it. I'm behind this. It reminds me of there's this movie I watched that did that. They really focused on this one guy, and he's kicking ass. Like, he wakes up in this field, and it's like a kill or be killed scenario, and he's doing great. He's kicking ass, and then he gets shot in the head after like 10 or 15 minutes of watching this one guy. And that's it. He turns out he's not the main character. It's pretty.
That sounds
good.
Amazing.
But yeah, I love it. I'm still on board, even though it's an Ichi. I'm gonna give it a shot. We'll see.
I'll give it a chance. I have more faith in X-Arm than I have in Redo of Healer and the Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter.
What?
Which the Hidden Dungeon Only I Can Enter. Just the name of it alone, after reading the synopsis.
Oh, it makes so much more sense now. It makes perfect sense now.
Because he learned about this hidden dungeon.
Yep, and the hidden dungeon is a woman's vagina.
Thanks, Zeo.
No problem. I just need to make sure everybody else understood this.
And also, Zeo's a pervert. Man,
we still have so many more anime.
Well, that's okay. We'll do one more here before we wrap up this episode.
Woo! Part 2.
So the next one is the X-Arm comes out sometime in January. Who knows?
Yep.
But Non Biori Non-Stop, I believe, is the second season to Non Biori.
This is letting you know that the show's going to go on forever. It's never going to stop.
Yeah, so this is going to be a comedy slice of life, so nothing Zeo is really interested in, especially once he hears the plot here. So the story takes place in the countryside small town village of Asahigaoka, a place lacking many of the conveniences that people from the city are accustomed to. The nearest stores are a few miles away, and one of the local schools consists of only 5 students, each of whom is in a different grade of elementary or middle school. Hotaru Ichijo, a 5th grader from Tokyo, transfers into Asahigaoka branch school and adjusts to countryside life with her new students. So the first season the first season's just all the other characters, and then they do a second season by introducing another character in. I started watching Non Biori and I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was a nice, very casual show. I don't remember why. I think I stopped watching it just because there were a lot of other big shows that came out when that season happened.
Okay.
And that's the only reason. It's still on my to watch list. I still plan on going back to
So how do you feel about this?
I'm gonna give it like a woo.
All right, I'm a woo.
But that's all the time we got. My God, there's so much.
There's so much anime coming out. Good lordy.
What's nice is I think it's just gonna be one more part.
All right. At least we hope so.
Maybe.
All right. We'll see you next time in part 7, guys.